Small towns across America have always been romanticized as quiet, peaceful places where everyone knows your name and life moves at a slower, simpler pace. We think of tree-lined streets, old-fashioned diners, Sunday barbecues, and the comfort of a tight-knit community. But the truth is more complex. Small-town America is changing, and it is happening slowly, almost imperceptibly, but with consequences that affect every family, every street, and every corner of these communities. For decades, these towns were shaped by industries, families, schools, and shared traditions. They provided stability, familiarity, and a sense of belonging. But now, economic shifts, demographic changes, and cultural evolution are slowly transforming these towns into something very different. If you grew up in a small town, you might notice it already. The streets look a little emptier. New faces are rare. Local businesses close or adapt to survive. And the rhythm of life that once felt permanent is changing before your eyes. This video will take you inside the story of small-town America today, why change is inevitable, who it affects, and what the future might look like. The shift in demographics. One of the most noticeable changes in small-town America is the population shift. Many towns are experiencing a slow decline in younger residents. Children grow up and leave for college, better job opportunities, or urban life. Unlike in the past, many never return. Meanwhile, older generations remain aging in place. Retirees move in, seeking lower housing costs and slower living. Immigrants sometimes move to fill labor gaps, but the overall population tends to age. This demographic imbalance reshapes everything. Schools shrink, healthcare needs increase, and the local economy slows. Some towns have responded by attracting remote workers or offering incentives to families, but these solutions are not universal. The result is a patchwork of towns. Some thriving, some struggling, and many facing an uncertain future. Economic transformation! Small towns were once sustained by local manufacturing, farming, and small businesses. Factories, mills, and farms provided stable employment for decades. But as industries modernized, moved overseas, or became automated, many small towns lost their economic backbone. This has created a ripple effect. Local businesses struggle without customers. Young adults leave in search of work. Property values decline. Public services are strained. Even essential institutions like hospitals and schools face funding challenges. Yet, some towns are finding new opportunities. Tourism, remote work, creative industries, and small-scale agriculture are emerging as ways to sustain communities. The economic transformation is gradual, but it is reshaping small-town America in real time. Cultural shifts change is not just economic. Small towns are also experiencing cultural transformation. The old traditions that defined these communities' local fairs, church events, high school sports, and seasonal festivals are not disappearing entirely, but they are adapting. New residents bring different lifestyles and priorities. Young adults returning after college or retirees relocating from cities introduce new ideas. Social media, internet commerce, and global exposure change the way people work, communicate, and interact. Even small things, like restaurants offering international cuisine or stores selling online, subtly change the character of a town. These shifts create opportunities, but they can also generate tension between old and new traditions. Housing and development. Housing trends in small towns are evolving as well. Many older homes need renovations, and younger buyers often prefer modern amenities. Towns that fail to update housing stock can struggle to attract new residents. At the same time, some towns are investing in revitalization projects. Downtown areas are redesigned to include cafes, art galleries, and co-working spaces. Suburbs and outlying areas see new residential developments. This slow evolution changes the landscape both physically and socially. What was once a homogeneous, quiet town now has pockets of innovation, diversity, and experimentation, education, and the next generation. Schools remain one of the most visible indicators of small-town change. Declining enrollment forces schools to consolidate or close, affecting both students and the broader community. Yet, education also reflects opportunity. Schools that adapt, embrace technology, and offer modern programs can become centers of growth. Programs that emphasize STEM, remote learning, and vocational skills attract students and families, slowly reversing population decline. The next generation will shape whether a town thrives, stagnates, or continues shrinking. Their choices reflect broader societal changes that extend far beyond the town limits. Community and social life. As small towns evolve, social dynamics shift. Community events may adapt to modern tastes. Volunteer organizations face challenges recruiting new members. Churches, clubs, and local nonprofits adapt to changing populations and priorities. While older residents may struggle with these changes, younger generations often embrace innovation. Online communities, remote collaborations, and social networking reshape relationships. The town is still a community, but its definition is expanding and transforming. So far, we have seen how demographics, economy, culture, housing, and education are quietly changing small towns. But this is only the beginning. Adapting to new industries, while some small towns have struggled for decades, others are slowly adapting to new economic realities. Traditional industries like manufacturing and farming are no longer reliable. But small towns have begun experimenting with new industries. Remote work has been a game changer. With faster internet and affordable housing, some towns are attracting remote employees from cities seeking quieter, slower-paced life. Freelancers, digital entrepreneurs, and small startups now find opportunities in towns that were once considered too isolated. Agriculture is also evolving. While large industrial farms dominate, smaller towns are embracing niche farming, organic produce, and farm-to-table businesses. Local economies are slowly diversifying, and new business models help towns remain economically viable. Tourism is another key adaptation. Historical sites, natural beauty, and cultural festivals attract visitors and create revenue. Some towns have become destinations for short-term residents, weekend travelers, or retirees seeking unique, small-town experiences. This slowly reshapes both the economy and the town's cultural identity. Housing renovations and revitalization. Small towns that are successfully adapting also focus on housing. Older homes are renovated to attract younger families, retirees, or remote workers. Abandoned buildings are converted into co-working spaces, shops, or cafes. Revitalization projects in downtown areas create a visual signal that change is happening. Vibrant storefronts, colorful murals, and community events draw attention and make towns feel alive again. While not every town can afford these projects, those that do see tangible results, increased property values, new residents, and renewed local pride. Education as a catalyst. Education plays a central role in small town transformation. Schools that embrace modern curricula, vocational training, and STEM programs not only improve student outcomes, but also attract families. Some towns have partnered with local businesses to create apprenticeships and internships, keeping young adults in the area. Others invest in technology for remote learning or create partnerships with urban universities to offer hybrid programs. Education is no longer just about learning. It is about survival. Towns that invest in their schools are towns that invest in their future. Healthcare and community services. Healthcare is another area where adaptation is critical. Small towns often face doctor shortages, limited hospital access, and aging populations requiring more care. Some towns have responded by introducing telemedicine, recruiting healthcare professionals with incentives, or partnering with regional hospitals. Others focus on wellness programs to prevent illness before it requires medical intervention. Community services such as transportation, senior care, and mental health support are increasingly important. Towns that invest in these services can retain older residents while making the town more attractive for younger families. Community spirit and social life, despite economic and demographic challenges. Community spirit remains a cornerstone of small-town resilience. Volunteer organizations, local festivals, farmers markets, and sports events continue to bind communities together. However, these traditions are slowly evolving. Social media, online community boards, and modern entertainment reshape how people connect. Younger generations find new ways to build relationships, while older generations adapt or sometimes struggle with these changes. The essence of a small town remains, but its form is shifting to match a new era. Challenges that persist even with adaptation. Challenges remain. Aging populations, strain healthcare and social services. Population decline reduces tax revenue, making infrastructure maintenance difficult. Young people may still leave for cities, limiting long-term growth. Cultural tensions occasionally arise between longtime residents and newcomers, particularly when demographics and priorities shift rapidly. Balancing tradition with innovation is a delicate act, and failure to do so can accelerate decline. Natural disasters, extreme weather, or economic shocks further complicate life in small towns. The combination of external pressures and internal demographic shifts ensures that change is never simple or uniform. Examples of thriving small towns despite challenges. Some small towns are thriving. They share common strategies. Attracting remote workers with affordable housing and good internet. Revitalizing downtowns with modern businesses and cultural events. Investing in education and healthcare to serve both young and old. Embracing diversity and newcomers to rebuild population. These towns prove that change does not always mean decline. Instead, change can be an opportunity for growth, renewal, and reinvention. The emotional impact of change for residents, the slow transformation of their towns is both exciting and unsettling. There is pride in revitalization and innovation, but also nostalgia for the way things used to be. Older generations witness streets and schools change, communities shift, and familiar faces leave. Younger residents navigate the tension between tradition and opportunity, deciding whether to stay, leave, or return. This emotional layer is as important as the economic or demographic factors. It shapes decisions, relationships, and the ultimate identity of the town. The future of small-town America. Looking forward, small-town America will continue to change. Aging populations, economic shifts, and social transformations are inevitable, but adaptation offers hope. Towns that embrace new industries, technology, and diverse populations can thrive. Towns that resist change risk gradual decline. But even in struggling towns, resilience is remarkable. Communities find ways to survive, innovate, and maintain connection in the face of slow but persistent change. The story of small-town America is not one of instant collapse, but of evolution and transformation that requires patience, creativity, and collaboration. Small towns are changing slowly, but the choices residents make today will define the future for decades to come. Comment below, would you live in a small town during this transformation, or would you choose the city? Subscribe to uncover more stories about America's hidden changes and the communities most affected.